Welcome to Channel 18 News. I'm Jim Rogers. In 8th Judicial District Court Wednesday, a sentencing hearing for Juan Daniel Santana Mendez, age 20, assessed a sentence of 10 years deferred probation with 120 days in county jail. Also, as a condition of the probation, he will spend his victim's birthday and the date of the rape in the county jail every year for the duration of his probation. Mendez had pled guilty to the offense of sexual assault of a child. Factually, he forcibly had sex with a 15-year-old girl against her will. The state had sought the maximum 20-year sentence in the state penitentiary. Mendez's attorney sought probation. A ribbon cutting Thursday for a new construction project at 128 4th Street introduced a work undertaken by students in the architecture and construction programs at Sulphur Springs High School. Construction Tech 1 students will be undertaking the project of building a home on 4th Street in Sulphur Springs during the 2017-2018 school year. This is the second year of their architecture and construction program. The project will be completed under the direction of Sulphur Springs High School construction instructor, Mr. Harold Smithson.
My second year construction class, we're going to be building this house, and I believe we're building it for somebody in particular. I believe the house started off to be a spec house, but I believe it's already sold or it's under contract to be sold. And my students and I, and with the help of the community, are going to build this home.
How did this happen?
The big guy over there. No, Miss Arledge and came up with this program with Clayton Homes about 2 years ago, and they asked me to teach the program, and so we started teaching it. And last year we built sheds, one of which was donated for charity and will be auctioned off in October. But anyway, and then this home was brought up. We were going to build like a tiny house or something like that, and this idea came up to the superintendent, and here we are.
So, students are building this house?
Yes.
How did you choose the students?
Well, they're my second year construction class. They've already been in 1 year of construction and architecture, and then from there they stuck with the program, and this is their direction they think they want to go, so we're just furthering their career as we go.
What size is this house?
Approximately 2,200 square feet under roof. The home itself is about 1,600 square feet, and then there's approximately 600 square feet of porch.
How many rooms?
2 bedroom, 2 bath, and has a library or den, which could be a bedroom as well.
Brick or siding?
It'll be all siding.
All siding.
And a faux brick fireplace.
Well, what role does the city play in this?
Well,
Nothing?
no, we do a few things. This could be an ongoing project, so we waive all the fees and for inspections and for utilities and that kind of stuff. Anything we can do around the edges to help clear out a few trees, that kind of stuff. This is really a school project. We just help where we can.
What do you think about this program?
I think it's going to be awesome. I think it's exciting to give these kids some hands-on activities to do and build some skills that we understand are much needed in this area.
Along with the construction, the principals of architecture and interior design students, under the direction of their instructor, Mrs. Christina Davis, will be making the interior selections to finish out the project. Wednesday at the Southwest Dairy Museum, Hopkins County United Way 2017-2018 campaign, Help Starts at Home, began with the annual Workers' Luncheon. The goal for the 2017-2018 campaign is $175,000. Funds received during the drive will be allocated to Boy Scouts of America Circle 10 Council, Can Help, East Texas Council on Alcohol Drug Abuse, Heritage Christian Counseling Center, Hopkins County 4-H, Hopkins County Christian Alliance, Hopkins County Community Chest, Lake Country Casa, Little Forest Club, Meal a Day of Sulphur Springs, Northeast Texas Child Advocacy Center, Our Place Lakes Regional Community Center, Safe Tea, a shelter agency for families in East Texas, Shadow Ranch Therapeutic Riding Center, Silver Springs Symphony League, Teen Court, and the Dinner Bell. Also, Winsboro Community Resource Center will receive funding. Brandon Williams is president for United Way for the 2017-2018 year. Adam Tier will serve as campaign chairman.
My very first job in human services was right when I got out of college. I graduated from Abilene Christian University. I had a bachelor's degree in communication, which basically told me I could do nothing real specific. So I was like, I don't know what to do, but I went from the private industry. I felt like the Lord was calling me to get into human services, the private or nonprofit sector. And my very first job was at the Housing Authority in Abilene, and I learned how to be a housing counselor to families that needed public assistance with their rent, their utilities, and things like that. And after a couple of years there, I amassed the largest caseload among our clients, and I served 375 families a year. And one of them in particular stuck out. This one afternoon, I was in my office. We were fortunate enough to have individual offices, and she came in. I couldn't tell you her name, obviously, but she came in for her annual recertification. And young lady, I would gather she was probably 25, 24 years old at the time, so really just a couple of years younger than me because I graduated college a little late. So she was about my age. She came in and she said, Mr. Adams, I'm excited for this year's recertification. She brought in all her income paperwork, all of her paycheck stubs, all of her documentation that we have to collect every year. And she said, I'm excited because this year my son is, I think he was 2 or 3 years old, just a little over a toddler at the time. And she said, I'm so excited because maybe this year we can move out of our one-bedroom apartment and maybe we can get a rent house. Because you see, the housing authorities, I think they're all the same, but this one in particular, you had to have a child over a certain age to warrant an extra bedroom, to warrant an extra size, and that was all very dependent upon your income. And she was working full time. She worked at one of the banks there in town. I think she was either a teller or maybe a customer service representative. She had a full-time job, and she had her little boy, and she said, this is finally the year. We're going to get out of that one-bedroom apartment. So I said, sure, I'll be glad to help you with that. So we sat down, and because it's part of what we do, I took all the information, I put it into the computer and let the almighty computer tell me the answer of what she could afford. And it came back, and guess what? She kind of had to stay in that apartment. Just close, but not quite there. I mean, worse things have happened, right? I mean, she was going to continue to get public assistance. Her rent was a fraction of what the market was. It was exactly what she could afford, based specifically on her income. It was a home that we inspected to show that it was a safe home, a quality home for her family. So worse things have happened to people. And she sits and she starts welling up with tears and she loses her composure. And if you don't know me very well, my kryptonite is crying women. I don't know how to deal with that. I lose my cool. I don't know how to think. I don't know how to function, and I'm just pulling out my checkbook. Whatever you need. I don't know how to deal with that. But she started crying, and through the sniffles, just as sincere as she could be, not blaming me, not mad, she just said, "My son is just to the point that he's tired of being in a one-bedroom apartment with his mom. He's tired of not having grass. He's tired of not having a dog. He's tired of the only outside he gets is the 2 foot of concrete next to the rails on our second story." And then she said the phrase that I will never forget. She said, "Is it too much to ask? Is it too much to ask to have a little yard, a bedroom that he can call his own, a mangy little dog he can play with, a place to keep his toys? Is it too much to ask?" And what do you say? So I finished her stuff, gave her a tissue, and I walked her out of the office and let her go. And I went back in my office, and all I could do was shut the door, turn my chair around, and just cry. I just didn't know what else to do, because guess what I had at home? I had my first little girl who wasn't much older than her kids. My little girl, we lived in a dumpy rent house in Abilene because we couldn't afford much. But my little girl had a yard, and she had her own little room. She had a little playroom, and I think we had a couple of little rat dogs running around the house, and she could call her up. And then she said, "Is it too much to ask?" The answer is no, it's not. She wasn't being unreasonable. She wasn't ungrateful for the help that we were giving her. She wasn't ungrateful for my efforts. But she was just saying, is it so much to ask for something so basic? And the answer was no. I'm really glad I have the opportunity to be the chairman for the United Way this year. Because it's a humbling experience being where so many of you who work in the nonprofit sector, the human services sector today, I was there. I've seen the room that you work in. I've walked the floor that you work on. I've seen the clients that you see. And I've heard people from outside the community, when we say we're here raising money for the United Way, and they spit back and say, oh, you're serving people who don't really deserve it. Oh, they don't really need it. They're abusing the system. We've all heard this. And that's such a load of garbage. There is a small amount of people that are on our caseloads, or if you're not in that sector, you know somebody that may legitimately be working the system. That happens. Those kind of people got by me. They're going to get by you, because personally I believe that's not my job to sort out. I can be a good steward of the money that I have. I can hold them to the eligibility requirements that we set forward for everybody else. But if somebody sneaks through that quote unquote didn't deserve it, I'm going to leave that one to the Lord. Because I tell people that when people come into my office needing help, I'll do my best, but it's the Lord's job to sort those out. And I'll help who I think needs help according to our income criteria or our eligibility criteria, just like you do. But friends, it's the majority of people that came into my office, that come into yours, the majority of them need it and they hate being there. They're not excited about asking you for a bag of canned food. They're not excited about telling you that their child was sexually abused. They're not excited about saying, I finally got the courage to run away from you. It's a humiliating experience. And that's the majority of the people that I deal with, and I'm confident you too. They need our help. And when they say, is it too much to ask for me not to be worried about me beaten every time I come home? Is it too much to ask for my kid to have food over the weekend because I depend on the school to feed him during the week, but we've got to have solutions during the weekend? Is it too much to ask that my son or my daughter has a physical disability and they need specialized treatment like at Shadow Ranch? Is it too much to ask that my child be taken care of with the services of somewhere like CASA and have representation from a separate adult when they go to court? The answer to those questions was the same as my answer to that young lady in my office. No, it's not too much to ask. So when we look back at ourselves and we have an opportunity to serve, and in this case, it's trying to raise money to meet our goal of $175,000, the highest the goal has ever been, to my understanding. Is it too much to ask for us to follow Susan's instructions here after a while and take packets around the business and tell them why United Way is important, how to fill out the packet? We'll come back in a week or 2 weeks to follow up and collect the packet. It's important for your company to give. It's important for your individual employees to give, but it's also important for you as a business to give and write that off. Because people are out there that need it. And not just any people. Especially here over the past couple of months, we've witnessed horrible events and natural disasters like was alluded to earlier. One just happened in Mexico with the earthquake. And rightly so, there's all these organizations coming up to say, we need to collect money, we need to collect goods, and we need to take them to those affected areas. And that's right for them to do. And I'm not saying you shouldn't give to organizations like that. Not at all. But I just want you to know that there's people in our community that weren't affected by a hurricane or an earthquake. And maybe, yes, maybe they're affected by bad decisions that they have made in their life. But they're still hungry. Their kids are still hungry. They're still being sexually abused. They still have physical impairments, and they still need you and I. Is it too much to ask? Friends, there's a lot of people in the world that need our help. But it's my belief that it starts at home. The money that's given to this United Way, and I'm sure many of you know this already, but maybe for you new folks, the money that's given to this United Way, 99% of it will never leave our friends and neighbors. 1% of it goes to United Way Worldwide to support the initiatives that are important to them, and we deem that as something we can live with, and we're okay with that. But it's so rare to find an organization that percentage stays here and never leaves. The people that are helped are the people that are your friends, that are your neighbors, that sit down the pew from you at church. Those are the people that are positively affected by your efforts in volunteerism today.
Here's Don Julian with sports.
Adam Cook is in his 5th year as the head football coach of the White House Wildcats. He took over in 2013. Coach Cook joined the White House coaching staff in 2006 as a quarterback coach for then head coach Randy McFarland. White House has started 2017 with 2 wins and a loss. After victories over Hallsville and Tyler Chapel Hill, White House ran into a buzzsaw last week as they lost to Carthage, the number 1 team in Class 4A. Coach Cook said that Carthage showed him areas of weakness for his team. He said he expects his team to be in the thick of things in the district race this year. Now, White House doesn't open district play for another 3 weeks. They play Kennedale next week and then have a bye before district play begins. Coach Cook said leaders on his defense include 3-year starter safety Javier Neal, defensive tackles Christian Owens and Darius Trimble, and cornerback Keon Ryder. Offensive leaders, according to Coach Cook, include wide receiver Cameron Cantrell, quarterback Jacob Clemens, running back Clayton Cook, wide receiver Kendrion Johnson, and tight end Brandon Bullard. Concerning Sulphur Springs, Coach Cook called them much improved this year. He said both teams have been very similar in the past. But Coach Cook said White House now does things a little different on defense than Sulphur Springs. And he added, fans can expect to see some differences on offense this season since White House has a new offensive coordinator. He says quarterback Ryan Humphreys is the best spread quarterback that his team has faced this year. And Coach Cook said Sulphur Springs will do a good job of preparing his team for district play this year.
Thanks for watching Channel 18 News. Have a great evening.
Before we turn everybody loose, just have some thank yous that I absolutely want to make sure that we get to. And they're written down, just I'm notorious with my name disease, and I just always forget something. We especially want to thank Karen McKinney and her staff for hosting our event here and making sure we were taken care of. So we appreciate her and her staff for that. Also for Sandy Wallace and Plain Fancy for providing the meal, which was excellent, as per usual. I spoke at Rotary Club last week. There was an awesome meal there. So they just do an awesome job. I know that's not breaking news to anybody. We appreciate her. The Teen Court volunteers for helping to stuff these packets. Mike Horn and Latson's Printing and Office Solutions for printing the campaign materials that you see in front of you. They always do a great job with that. So we got some media members here today. Faith Huffman and Isabel Randy from the News Telegram, and Doug from KSST for providing the news coverage of the campaign. They come to our board meetings when we make announcements and things like that, and they're usually pretty good about coming when they can to the reporting meetings every Tuesday. Just an absolute pillar in the community. We're so appreciative for them. And especially you guys for volunteering to take the packets around. It's a huge job, and it may not seem like much, but it's so crucial that we're able to do that, and you are the folks that make it happen. And last and certainly not least, I want to thank Susan. The only reason I would ever volunteer to do this job was because they said, don't worry, you've got Susan. Oh.
Can you tell them how you did it, except they're not
With the gun in my hand? No, I'm going to tell you this though, because your campaign theme was run the race, and you're so big, and you're so big into taking care of yourself and jiu-jitsu and the marathons, and I'm like, when do we eat? So I did it for the lunch. But Susan does such a wonderful job. She does it, no kidding, year round, and even as an executive director of the agency that I was with, applying for funds, she's the same person when she's taking care of the people that have never done it or asking questions, and walking through the process to being a package hander router. She walks through that process and now being the campaign chairman. She's just absolutely wonderful at what she does. So her husband definitely married up.
Yeah.